What is going on, everyone? Steve-O Supremo here, and I am just another game collector. In today's video, I want to talk about a comment that was actually left in one of my latest videos. Does anyone collect Game Boy Advance games anymore? Which, by the way, was a very well-received video. So thank you guys, everyone who watched it or commented on it. But this video, individual left a comment saying that gaming or collecting isn't for gamers anymore because it's too costly. And I wanted to get your opinions on that, guys, because while I believe some games, the prices have gone up pretty high, I still think for the most part, you can collect older games for fairly cheap. And what I mean by fairly cheap, for like under 20 bucks or less, you can still get great library of games to add to your collection. So I don't know if I fully agree with that statement or not. And I wanted to do like a deep dive and research a bunch of games like on a certain system to see the percentage of how many games like fall under a certain price amount. But it was just, man, that was going to take a lot of time. And the problem with like sites like price charting and everything, you got to hope that they actually have the full library of games on there to actually see to compare. So I was like, you know what? Let's just walk through the game collection real quick and kind of see, like, just off of the bat, how many good games you can find pretty cheap for just certain systems. And while I do agree, though, that, man, some retro prices are just getting out of hand and they're getting crazy, but you can still get really good games for pretty cheap on the system and have a good time with it. Um, I think the problem comes, it's like a lot of the cheaper games is stuff we've all played and owned before. So it's like, well, okay, well, I get it. Though that game is cheap, but I'm not gonna. I already got that. Not gonna get it again. But it's kind of hard to find the new old game to add to your collection, unless it might be one of those expensive ones. And then another part of this whole topic is, where do we draw the line on what we consider a cheap game? Because new releases these days are at $69.99. So that's the price tag of a new release. Anywhere between $69.99 or $59.99 is what it's going to be. So if we're going off of the price of a new release at 60 to 70 bucks being the price tag, does that mean we're okay with paying 60 bucks on older game? Or do we have in our head that no, the game is older, so I shouldn't have to pay more for it? I think that's another one of the hurdles, is we're so used to, over time, games getting discounted or going on a discounted rate. So we're like, all right, we'll wait till the price gets cheaper, so we'll buy it then. But I think that way of thinking has kind of hampered with the prices we want to pay on some of the retro games. Because at one point, these games, where's a really pretty cheap one? Let's just go with like a Call of Duty 3 right here. Pretty cheap game you can get under 10 bucks these days, if not for 5 bucks, like anywhere. At one point, this game was 60 bucks though when it was new. So where do we kind of draw the line on that price? Because that was a $60 game too, so why can't it be a $60 game now? And I think it's because we have this in our mind that, hey, games should eventually just go down in price. We shouldn't have to keep paying a high price for a game. So I think once we get over that hurdle, it becomes more like, okay, I'm paying such and such amount of money for a new release, so I mean, why shouldn't I do it for an older release? Especially if it's an older quality game that's actually really good, even though it could demand more of a value, but the value is there in the price you pay. Like a Psy collection here. I think this game right now, man, luckily I got it at GameStop. Recently, you saw it in a pickup where I think I paid, what was it, 28 for it or 27 after the discount. No kidding. You go to GameStop now, it's got a 40 something dollar price tag on it. Within a matter of days, the price of this went up. But I believe like the value for the price is still there even at that, because you get 3 great games in it. Some people might think the value isn't there and that it's only like a $5 game. But to me, I think the value's there. So it's all like kind of where you value the price of a game to be at, like the quality of the game, so on and so forth. So just for example, let's go through here and hopefully, sorry, like I got glares all over the place because we got a My windows are right behind me, but anyways, good games for cheap. Let's see. Alan Wake used to be pretty cheap. Excellent game. This Assassin's Creed American Rebel Collection, I believe, pretty cheap. And it's got some solid entries on it. BioShock, dirt cheap game you can find anywhere. Put it in your collection. You can have fun. Call of Juarez, again, I would consider pretty cheap. So many games. Crysis 3, you can get pretty cheap. Just great stuff. Dead Space series. Awesome games. Again, you can get on a budget. I think even stuff like Deadly Premonition, Cult Hits is something that's under like $30 these days. Fable, Final Fantasy 13, one of my favorite entries, you can get pretty cheap. The whole entire Gears of War library is dirt cheap. Front Mission Evolve, Guitar Hero games for the most part are pretty cheap. The Guitar Hero game is the expensive part. The guitar controller can be the expensive part to get. Halo, again, cheap stuff for the system. Jurassic the Hunted, under 20 bucks. Cameo, under 20 bucks. This is a JRPG, Last Remnant, you can get for under 20 bucks. Left 4 Dead, normally those are under 20 bucks. So it's just, I mean, you guys are seeing it already. More than half the games we went through, you can get are pretty cheap games. But then, yeah, you do have your other games in here, like a Marvel Ultimate Alliance Gold Edition that is an over $100 game. Yeah, you might be priced out of the market for the gold edition, but guess what? There's the original edition you can get for pretty cheap. So, again, pretty cheap as far as is for collecting for it. Resident Evil games, cheap. Then you get up to your Spider-Mans that could demand a little bit of a price tag. But then you get awesome stuff like Splinter Cell games that are cheap. So, I mean, just from the 360 alone, like you're seeing, there's still a lot of opportunity to add games to your collection for pretty cheap that are good games. And then PS3, Anarchy Reigns, I think is awesome. The Army of Two games are pretty cheap. All the Call of Duties are under 20 bucks or either under 10 bucks. And I had fun playing through all those. Castlevania games under 20 bucks. I mean, the Dark Souls games, the list goes on and on, guys. I don't even think we need to harp on it too much anymore. I think there's plenty of value into collecting for cheap. You do not have to get priced out of collecting. It's just I don't know, maybe it's the mindset on the expensive ones you're wanting to add to your collection. Yes, can be pretty daunting. But for the most part, you can find lots and lots of cheap games to add to your collection that you don't need to spend an arm and a leg for. And you can still have a good time playing them. Monster Hunter 3 Ultimate here. You can get for under 20 bucks. You can get Monster Hunter Generations on the Switch probably now for 20 bucks. That incorporates a lot more content than that to keep you busy for hundreds of hours. So, I don't know. So it was an interesting topic, just that comment being left on there, because I believe there is room for you as a gamer like myself to enjoy and collect video games. Not everything has jumped or skyrocketed to GameCube level prices here. Yes, GameCube stuff on average can tend to be higher. But for other systems, like the average price tag can be pretty low. Like really look into Wii. Like the Wii has a bunch of cheap stuff. PlayStation 2, tons of cheaper games in the PS2 library. So there is opportunity out there. I would not say you're getting priced out of collecting just quite yet if you're wanting to get some stuff. Still tons of cheap stuff to add to your collection. Maybe we can do a little series for each console or system on some of the best games for under 20 bucks you can get to add to your collection later on down the road. So let me know what you guys think. Are we getting priced out as gamers and collectors of the market? I don't think so yet on a majority of the games. Just let me know in the comments below. But tomorrow, guys, Switch 2 reveal day. I cannot wait. It's something I've been looking forward to. I feel so bad for my son because he was looking forward to it as well. But unfortunately, he is out on a school-like trip for this week. So they are out of town. He's not even going to be able to watch it until he gets back. So I cannot wait to see what's going on. We'll talk about it tomorrow when it's announced. But we'll see. I'm stoked, and I'll see you guys tomorrow.